So we are here to talk about breakthrough planning. Jeremy did a great job setting you guys up. And I love the fact that he used his own life as an example of what breakthrough looked like for him back in 2010. So here we are now 15 years later, and this man has testimony of trusting what this process required to get not only him, but his ministry, his youth, his colleagues, all to another level, okay? And that is the goal for us today as well, is to make sure that you have the proper understanding of what's expected out of you in developing a breakthrough plan. Hear me when I say this. This is not just you completing an assignment and checking a box and say, I got this off my list. This is about transformation in your life and having a documented record so that you don't forget and that you're able to hold yourself and others hold you accountable for getting to another level, okay? So just as Jeremy said in his presentation, he could not have the same content in the breakthrough plan that Will Cumbie had. They had two separate goals. You authentically and uniquely have your own breakthrough that you need to get through, okay? This is not something you can Google. This is not something that you can AI. This is about you, all right? You are the resource for your breakthrough, okay? So whatever this experience has meant to you up to this point, all of your learning, all of the things that have begun to kind of trigger, okay, I need to deal with this, confront this, get through this. This particular component of this 18-month process is built to get you there, all right? If you're just gonna blow this off and wait till the last minute and fill out a bunch of boxes, I'm gonna say this now at the risk of being criticized for saying it. Go talk to your city coordinator, go talk to your liaison, and question whether or not you should even be in this program. Really, okay? I don't mean this as a reprimand or a slap on the wrist, but I've been around for 21 years, and I've actually seen some people just blow this off and wait till the last minute. And is it frustrating? Of course it is, okay? And not on a soapbox, but I just want to encourage you. We are here, we are in your life, we are in this space to help you break through. And if there is something that needs to be confronted, dealt with, and get you to another level, that's why we're here, okay? So take advantage of this full process. There are elements of this program, elements of this piece of the process that are specifically designed to get you there, all right? This is not just an assignment, okay? For you to complete and get a diploma and say, I completed this and add it to your resume, okay? All right. On that note, all of the stuff that you've done up to this point is contained in your notes, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But in order to complete this, the pre-assignment book that you got in your packet, you don't necessarily need it for this particular session, but if you want to pull it out, you can, something along the way. But I want to make sure you walk out of here equipped to do what the breakthrough process requires, okay? You're going to also utilize the learning management system in Brightspace. That's where you're going to populate and complete this specific piece of your learning, all right? So those are the only two things that you're going to need in terms of tools and resources to complete it. Your pre-assignment book, and then being able to go online and go into Brightspace and begin to populate all of your responses to the prompts that are there, okay? All right, I hope I have everybody's attention. If I don't, then stand up, go to the back of the room, shake and stretch, do what you got to do to stay connected and alert. Jeremy already talked about what our definition of breakthrough is. And I always like to say, breakthrough is not you standing in line at the altar and somebody putting their hand on your forehead and knocking you down on the floor, okay? All right. So just get that out your mind. If that's a paradigm you come to, that breakthrough is for you. For this process, breakthrough is strategic. In fact, repeat this after me. Breakthrough is strategic, significant, and sustainable. Change in the way you live and work. And I mean an emphasis on change, all right? And those 3 S's, strategic, significant, sustainable, you're going to need to begin to adopt that specifically for this process as filters in your brain. Because it's easy sometimes to like say, okay, I can do this, I can do that. No, you're going to begin to kind of ask yourself the question, is what I need to do to get to breakthrough strategic, significant, and is it sustainable, okay? And if you feel like it still feels like a repeat of some stuff that you have already done before, I mean, then we need to begin to kind of talk about what strategic, significant, and sustainable is like for you. And part of this process is you actually running this past your content, other thinkers as well, okay? It's not just you writing on your own kind of thing. There's a part of the process where you'll be engaging other people that will go through this. So this is the heart of DVULI, changing how you live and work. And strategic requires that you kind of take a step back and think differently about the big picture of your life. What really should it look like? And change that is significant is not just something that you would just do anyway, but really it's a deeper dimension. It's something you haven't done before. I was talking with a participant the other day about just some health-related challenges and issues and how the question was, okay, well, what do you need to do now? It's like, I need to discipline myself, okay? These are disciplines that I haven't had in place before. And I need to figure out, okay, how do I get myself to a place where I'm doing and exercising and doing the things I need to do to ensure that I am, moving in the right direction. But it means doing something that you haven't done before, all right? So we're going to get you there as much as we can through this process. Let me just say this about breakthrough planning. It took me a while to realize the fact that this is actually a new skill. It's not just responding to prompts. It's not just completing an assignment. This is something that you're going to begin to kind of adopt as a way of development and expanding and growing and pushing yourself to new levels. So you're talking about taking some manageable incremental action steps that lead you to breakthrough in your personal life. So you're going to respond to prompts in a way, and it's going to require you to reflect on your new learning. It's going to require you also to assess some of the changes that you really must make in your life. You're going to prioritize those action steps, and you're also going to explore alternative courses of action as well. Sometimes we don't necessarily think that way. We just kind of respond to from an emotional standpoint, or I know I need money for this, or I know I need to do this, or take whatever step I need to take to get somewhere. Now it's a thing where you're going to begin to kind of think a little differently about how you reach certain conclusions about what it means to be at a place of breakthrough, what it means to be at a new level, all right? So you're going to engage in some reflective thinking. You're going to begin to assess what you've learned and the significance of that. I do want to say this now, and I may even say this a little bit later. This particular breakthrough plan needs to include all of the all of the content you've been exposed to so far, Local Workshop 1 and First National Conference. That's it. And all of this has been really directed at your own personal life, okay? We're going to get to other dimensions of your life later, but we're only dealing with the content. So if you just recently read Joel Osteen's Your Best Life, we're not looking for that in this particular part of the program, okay? So don't reference something that you just recently read, all right? Other than what you've been exposed to in the content of this program so far. So when you get to the point where you begin to work on your breakthrough plan, and I recommend, as a person who has sat where you are sitting now, do not procrastinate. It demands some significant amount of time in reflective thinking, all right? The work in terms of populating the responses in the prompts, you can do that. That may not take long, but to invest in the time of some reflective thinking, looking at your notes, and really honing in, okay, what really is my current reality and where am I trying to go? That may take some time, all right? So again, the tip for you there is to not procrastinate. What are the resources that you're going to need to pull this off? The stuff that's already in your possession, all right? I used to like to say it like this. Really, your breakthrough plan already exists. You just got to document it. You know the stuff that you need to do. God has imparted the stuff into you that he expects out of you. You just got to figure out how you pull it out of yourself and put it in a presentation so that you can refer back to it, all right? So your journal, you've been journaling already. your pre-assignments, the stuff that has got you to local workshop 1 and this first national conference, the workbooks that have come from those 2 modules as well, the books, the articles, any other notes that you have taken, the stuff that you've underlined, the stuff that you've highlighted, the stuff that you have little extras by, the little boxes that you have in all of your notes, all of those things now become content for your actual breakthrough plan, okay? And as much as possible, dig deep into your own mind and heart about what it takes to really respond in a healthy way and in a manageable way, strategic, significant, and sustainable way to the prompts that you're going to be exposed to. All right. So now, hopefully, I've just kind of set you up a little bit in terms of how I should be thinking. I know what resources I have to access. I don't have to go researching, what is a breakthrough plan or what is strategic, significant, and sustainable. All of it, again, is stuff that you've been exposed to already. So this particular process is going to look like this. There's 6 steps. This is what we expect out of you, and these are the key tasks. There are some specific deadlines to this as well. That's why I'm saying don't procrastinate, because you'll want to stay true to the process of getting this done, because you're going to have a presentation to do, and there's a timeline on that also, all right? So your first step is you're going to write a personal learning summary, and all that is you summarizing what you've been exposed to so far from Local Workshop 1 and NC1, and the notes and the things that you've gathered from this that are important to you. I'm going to show you actually a sample on how you do that. I'm actually going to give you a sample demonstration of somebody's breakthrough plan in this presentation so you can see exactly how to process and think and respond to the prompts for your own benefit as well. The second step is this. You're going to develop what is called a personal focus statement. I'll define what that is, but just for the sake of time and now, it's a focus statement. It's a synthesized 1 paragraph that has to be drafted that becomes really the root of what your breakthrough plan ultimately looks like. And then you're actually going to draft the personal breakthrough plan itself. And again, I'll walk you through the process of what that looks like and how you get there. 4th step is the exciting one, because when you get to your second local workshop, you are now going to present what you've documented in front of all your fellow cohort members. Yeah, they're going to get a chance to hear exactly how is God breaking you through. And you know what they're also going to get a chance to do? Give you some feedback on it. Tell you if it really sounds like you or not. They're going to probably say, I've been around you long enough to know, okay, we had a workshop together, we had a dialogue together, we spent a week in Grand Rapids together, and I've heard some things come through you that I'm questioning, okay, is this going to pop up in your breakthrough plan or not? And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, in that moment, I get a chance to ask you whether or not it should be there, all right? Feedback is good and healthy from the right people for sure. After that workshop is over, then you'll have a process to take all that feedback from the people that love you, that are going through this process with you, and then you're going to revise and you're going to submit a final plan so that you have a record of it, and we'll have a record of it as well to hold you accountable to it, okay? It may feel like a lot. It may feel like it's demanding, but it's for the benefit of what you heard out of Jeremy today in terms of a testimony and really breaking through. And then finally, you're going to implement it. And there's a part of that process as well that you're going to have to be held accountable to also, all right? So those are the 6 steps to developing a breakthrough plan, and we're going to get you now exposed to ultimately what it looks like. Where are my mic runners at? I'm going to need 2 people on microphone because I'm going to have you that are in the audience participate with me, okay? And here's how this goes. Maria was a participant in a former cohort long time ago in DVULI. Maria submitted her plan, did a great job with it, so much so we thought it would be an awesome example for you all to glean from today, all right? We have full permission from Maria to allow you to have a chance to hear what she put in her breakthrough plan and ultimately what it looked like when it was done. So actually we just kind of extracted components of it, and I want to introduce you guys to Maria. And this woman wrote an incredible plan, and she began with writing her personal learning summary, okay? So what I want to do is this. Now Again, you don't have to have your LW2 pre-assignment in front of you, but these instructions you'll find valuable for you along the way. When you recall Local Workshop 1 and NC1, all the concepts that came from both of these modules, these are the things that you're going to be having to kind of think through again and recall along the way. So your personal learning summary is just going to synthesize from your notes. It's going to synthesize from your reading and what have you. And so I just want you to be aware that those are the tools that you're going to be referring to when you begin to respond to the prompts. And again, do not deviate to some other stuff that you've learned or some podcast you were listening to, or quoting somebody else that didn't come from the DVULI process from Local Workshop 1 and NC1, okay? So we're going to get you there in a second. Now, Maria got all this in her head. She got her journal out. She's got her notes in front of her. She went to the learning management system on Brightspace, and she encountered this right here, okay? And that's in her book as well. So here's what I want to do. Stephanie, you have a mic, and Rodrigo has a mic. Okay. Christy, would you do me a favor on the microphone? Read prompt number 2.
What did the biblical disc assessment reveal about yourself that you didn't already know or fully realize? How have the results impacted your life? Okay.
That is a prompt that you're going to respond to begin to assess what your learning has looked like so far from Local Workshop 1 and NC1. All right. You have a microphone. First person on your left. Yes. Can you read? Prompt number 3.
Review the 3 main parts of the personal assessment model: calling, character, and commitment to change. Describe one way you've applied each part to your personal life so far.
Okay. So now, again, you're going back to Local Workshop 1. You learned about calling, character, and commitment to change in that module, right? You had a chance to kind of journal and process what that meant, how that applied to you. Remember the big tree and all those components as well? All that stuff is part of your response, okay? I'm going to show you in a second how Maria responded to some of these prompts, okay? Rodrigo, come up one row, and let's say Michael right here in the red shirt. Would you read prompt number 5 for me, please? Number 5.
Reflect on your need to, reflect on your need for the 5 core values in your life. What stands out to you about the core values so far in the program?
Okay, so that's basically what you got this week, right? The 5 core values. There has to be something in your notes that you can already point to as you reflect on what you heard about balance, accountability, leverage, empowerment, interdependence. What is it about those core values that stands out to you that needs to be applied to your life? And let's do number 6. Stephanie, find me the next person. There, right there. Yep, read number 6, my friend.
Think back to your time log and Covey's 4 quadrants time management matrix from National Conference 1. What did the matrix reveal to you since National Conference 1? What has been important for you in thinking about your use of time and priorities?
Those first 2 words simply say, think back to this week, all right? That's all we're asking you to do. Now, hold on, Rodrigo, don't go anywhere, because now it's going to get real deep. We're going to go to prompt number 1, and let's see. You know what, Rodrigo, come on this side. Well, Stephanie for now. Let's go to Patrick. Patrick, come on up. Patrick's got a hat on right here. Wave your hand, Patrick. Yep. Patrick, read prompt number 1. In fact, hold on a second. Before you do that, now read prompt number 1.
Okay. How would you describe your sense of personal purpose today versus when you began the program? Is it more affirmed and clear, less so, or how was it changed in other ways?
Gotcha. So that is the prompt in this assignment for Maria. Maria goes back to her journal. And this is what Maria wrote in her journal. This is private information. It's proprietary. We have permission to be exposed to this. She says, I knew that I wanted to help youth succeed. But now I believe I'm called to focus on discipling teenage girls in their faith, how to be true Christ followers, not stray once they become adults. I can only do this well if I continue to keep my morning devotion commitment as well as my weekend study and reading regimens in place. No compromise in here. That's all in her journal. That's her reflective thinking. That's what she put in her pre-assignment notes or journal at Local Workshop 1. So now she's in the learning management system in Brightspace. She's got this resource from her own learning journal. She says, okay, how am I going to tell the people that are going to read my plan what I'm really sensing about my call in response to prompt number 1? So she just simply says this: my sense of purpose is more refined now. You see that? And would you agree that that came out of her learning journal? I clearly see how God wants me to fulfill his call on my life and what I must do privately to remain equipped. Okay? That's what she put. That's part of her breakthrough plan. That's part of her response in the learning summary. Okay? I'm going to do one more. The other prompt that we didn't read was prompt number 4. Rodrigo, come up here to Anna. Anna, would you? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Read prompt number 4 for our audience today.
In what ways did the ladder of inference from Local Workshop 1 deepen your understanding of others' perspectives and jumping to conclusions or making judgments? Have you been able to apply this in your personal life? If so, what are some results from this application?
Exactly. Okay. So go to Mark. Rodrigo, right here. Mark, would you kindly read what Anna wrote in her journal?
As I sit here in this room, I can honestly say that I have sized up members in my cohort already, and most of them I had not met before this opportunity. It probably makes sense to get to know them first. Over the course of my life, I have always learned more about people after I have a conversation with them. That's always a good idea.
Okay, that was what she reflected in her journal. Had a little typo in there, but it's okay. You get the point. So now she goes to the LMS. You can give the mic back. And she says, my dad used to tell me, this is what everybody's reading with DVULI, you can't judge a book by its cover. The ladder of inference reminded me not to reach conclusions about the people I do ministry with until I speak with them first. Y'all remember the ladder of inference? Yeah. Probably take you to another place in terms of how you process and deal with people. All right. So those are the only 2 examples I'm going to give you from Maria's learning summary. All right? Your job at this point is to figure out how you respond to those prompts and how they are applicable to you. All right? The next step in the process in the learning management system is going to ask you to do this. Go find 2 people that love you, care about you, know you, and all those 6 prompts that you responded to, give them a chance to take a look at it and give you some feedback. Yes, sir. Yes, they can. Yep. And your book will kind of explain who you can go to. You can go to your city coordinator. In some cases, if it's the right cohort member who knows you and loves you, a spouse if you have one, a ministry counterpart, whoever that might be, that's somebody in your life, but just let 2 people give you some feedback on how you responded, okay? Because here's where you're trying to go. You're crystallizing something called a focus statement. And as I said earlier, this is just a real concise paragraph that ultimately says, this is what I want to achieve, and this is what I want to accomplish in this entire breakthrough plan about my personal life. Okay, so you're going to be borrowing from your learning summary. At this point, with your learning summary being done, the only resource for your focus statement is what you've documented in the learning management system. That is your learning summary, okay? That is all you need to refer to. Nothing else should be a resource at that point because you put everything in there that needs to be there, okay? Consider this like a thesis statement or maybe a topical sentence, but ultimately it's the shortest way to say what you hope to achieve as it relates to personal breakthrough, all right? So let me just give you a sample of what Maria crystallized as her focus statement. And Stephanie, come on this side and pass the mic to AC. Right here, row number 3. There you go. Put your hand up. And AC, I want you to read Maria's personal focus statement.
To achieve strategic, significant, and sustainable change in my personal life, I will identify a new accountability partner to help me keep my devotion and study habits on task and help me improve how I lead and interact with my team of volunteers.
So, if you remember what she wrote in something, I'm sorry, how she responded to some of the prompts, she talked about the need for her personal devotional time, all right? And so that personal devotional time is a focus for her. But she knew that in order for her to get back on the wagon or to really maybe even jump on the wagon for the first time, I need somebody in my life, a new accountability partner, to help me stay on track and to develop the right study habits to get me where I need to go. So this was the thinking behind Maria arriving at a focus statement that worked for her. She said her private study time must stay on track, and she knew that she needed to even suspend judgment with others that she's working with, specifically her volunteers, all right? So that's a focus statement. And again, all she did was reference what she documented in her personal learning summary to arrive at that. So here we go. Now she's at a point where she's at the next step, and she's got to write the actual personal breakthrough plan itself. That's step number 3, okay? I think I'm good, Stephanie, on the microphones for a little bit, but thank you guys for engaging me there, okay? Now, she's got 4 prompts she's working with. If you were to look in your pre-assignment book, you'll see those there as well. This also appears on the learning management system. But these are the core themes that you as participants will be addressing as part of your personal breakthrough plan. The actual exact prompts will address these themes, and you'll be responding to these in order to create ultimately personal breakthrough. And these will be in your, again, your pre-assignment book, I think on page 11, okay? Now, it says to identify 2 to 4 personal life examples where you needed breakthrough before DVULI. So now you're thinking back again, more reflective thinking, but here's the situation. You're only referencing the stuff that is in your personal learning summary and or your focus statement. And it begins to ask you then, next point, what changes have you made since LW1 and NC1? What have you learned about yourself? What steps are needed to apply your learning and achieve breakthrough in your personal life? Your job now is to respond to those prompts. Let me expose you to what Maria had to say when she was working on her breakthrough plan. I'm sorry, before we get there, that's all the stuff that you're going to see. I'm not going to go through that with you, but I am going to extract from the first prompt and the 4th prompt to show you how Maria managed this content as well, okay? Prompt number 2, reflect on ways you've been processing the core values, use of time, developing priorities. Identify 2 to 4 examples from your personal life where breakthrough was needed before you began DVULI and write about them. Why was breakthrough necessary for each, okay? So now she's going back to her focus statement. She knows what she's written in the focus statement. Now she has to put into language what ultimately she needs to do to get to the place of breakthrough, a place that she hasn't been through before. So again, her focus statement is to achieve strategic, significant, and sustainable change in my life. I will identify a new accountability partner to help me keep my devotion and study habits on task and to help me improve how I lead and interact with my team of volunteers. Her response to the prompts are really simple. We didn't put everything in there that she had to say, but it's suffice it to say, this is what she came up with. I need a more reliable person to seriously hold me accountable. Which means this, Maria had an accountability partner. She had a friend that she looked to. But for whatever reason, those things that she needed to be held accountable to, she was not ultimately being held accountable for. Hence, for her breakthrough is, I need somebody new. Some of you might be in that same position where you feel like you got a prayer partner, you got somebody that you can lean on, and they're just not really like the person that, okay, they don't really check on me that much. I really wish they would hold me accountable at a deeper level. Then maybe a new accountability person might be valuable for you as well. She also said, my devotion time and study habits get compromised, and I need consistency there. I need to be doing more in the mornings. I need to forget about the fact that, okay, I listen to the Christian radio in the car on the way to the office. That's not enough. I need more than that. All right? And so ultimately, this is where Maria is trying to go for breakthrough for her. And then relating with my volunteers is not my strength. Because why? I'm task-driven. All right, so she put all this in a plan, and ultimately now she's got to figure out, okay, how do I get from where I used to be to where I am? And this is all the stuff she documents in the plan. So any questions about how to respond to prompts? Anybody feeling like, okay, this is a little awkward for me? Martin. Why? Because here's the thing. Forgive me, and I'm not being negative when I say this. We can make it available, but this is really about your thinking, okay? About your experience and ultimately what these prompts are demanding out of you. Again, to answer your question, yeah, okay? But we're wanting you to think, we want you to have personal breakthrough, okay? And if you think this will help you out in terms of triggering what you need to document for yourself, go for it. All personal. I don't want to read anything about your organization in this side. You're going to get there over the next 4 modules, okay? And we're going to deal with all ministry stuff. We haven't even begun to instruct you from this process about ministry yet. Whole other side of life coming as far as the ministry side is concerned. Did I see a hand go up somewhere else? Nope. Okay. Good deal. Let's look at another one of Maria's responses, okay? Stephanie, let's get some help this time. And come down this aisle over here. Yeah, right there. He read already. Then let's go to Richard. Yep. Robert, I'm sorry. Robert, there we go. That's my guy. Yeah, read the prompt.
Outline the action steps needed to implement your personal breakthrough plan. Identify specific dates that each action needs to be accomplished. List any barriers or obstacles that could hinder or prevent you from accomplishing your action steps, and describe how you will overcome them.
All right. Again, staying in line with the focus statement. Needs an accountability person. Needs to ramp up private devotion time. Needs to be held accountable in terms of how I deal with my staff and volunteers. So here's a situation where she's first response, one of her responses, and there may be many steps, is this: contact the women's ministry leader for an accountability referral. Again, she needs somebody new. And the person that she had been trusting all along wasn't working. So I'm going to go through a third-party resource and ask somebody else for help. So she's going to go to the women's ministry leader at her church. She's going to set a date, set a time, get it on their calendars. They're going to meet over coffee. That's the action step. That's going to get me to breakthrough ultimately. But I need to sit down and have a good conversation with somebody that I know I can trust, that can help me really identify what I need, okay? She set as a deadline, September 30th. That's it, smack dab. If I don't have somebody, I need to have this conversation before we go into Q4, all right? Here's a potential barrier, because this asked you, what are some barriers or obstacles that could stand in the way of or hinder you from accomplishing your action step? She said, here's a potential barrier. If the women's ministry leader gets a new job, packs up and leaves the church, she's no longer committed or obligated to serving me because we don't go to the same church anymore. And so now I got to figure out what's my contingency. You know, do I reschedule with her, or do I find somebody else, or the new women's ministry leader that, you know, can provide me a referral, okay? Hopefully that doesn't happen, but at least Maria is thinking in the right way. There may be something that may stand in the way. And how many times do things that stand in the way? The unexpected stuff, all right? From pandemics to people changing jobs, all right? That was Maria's response to that prompt. You will respond to these prompts. You will have more steps than just step number 1. Suffice it to say, that's just an example of what Maria had to offer in her breakthrough plan. All right. So that really is it in terms of the work. All of this is taking place on the LMS, okay? Now your job is the fun part. You get to develop a presentation. I'm not going to walk you through how to prepare PowerPoint and how to put graphics together and what that all should look like. That is up to you. In your pre-assignment, you will see full guidelines on how you should prepare your presentation, what needs to be there, and how you should plan on going to the local workshop 2 and presenting this in front of your fellow cohort members. Also part of that process is you get a chance to read your fellow cohort members' breakthrough plans as well, all right? So that you can give healthy feedback for them also when they're up in front of you giving their presentations. But remember, you've got the stuff in front of you. You've got a pre-assignment, you've got a workbook, you've got all of your notes. Those are the resources that you need to ensure that you have a solid working breakthrough plan as well as a solid working presentation. Now, when you do this presentation, you're going to get some feedback. Your job is to take good notes because that feedback, is confounding. I went through this program in 2003 in Kansas City. And one of the best things, and Ron Carter was my liaison at the time, one of the best things that I got, and it even came from Ron, was some very challenging questions about my breakthrough plan. Stuff that I hadn't even thought about. All the what ifs. And I'm just taking notes feverishly up front behind the podium. And probably ready to break down and cry because just where I was in that space and time in my life. I need you guys to take this very seriously. It was transformational for me, and it's been transformational for so many people that you met several alumni over the past week as well who've had that same experience. So while you're up there, take it from me. Take good notes. The people that are giving you feedback really have your best interest in mind. And you owe that to them as well to reciprocate that also. So my encouragement is to you is, again, to not procrastinate. Get your pre-assignment done, get your breakthrough plan done, because you've got to review everybody else's plans as well so that when you walk into LW2, you're ready and equipped to give them feedback that they can learn from and gain from and grow from and break through from as well, all right? I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page. We are all leaders. We can pull this off. So now that you've got all this feedback, now that you've got some notes from that particular workshop, go back into the LMS and make revisions. All right? And these are people, again, that care about you and believe in you. So your job is to make sure that you're putting all the pieces of the puzzle together so that you can break through. And then finally, go put in the work. Execute it. We're going to ask you to not only implement your breakthrough plan, but to ensure that on a monthly basis, this will be in part of your workbook as well, that you're checking in with the accountability person to report on the progress and to perhaps discuss unexpected barriers, to celebrate the wins that you are already seeing, all right? So that there's no confusion about ultimately how you should be responding to the prompts. The steps that you're taking should be things that you actually can do. We're not asking you to achieve something that you're not capable of doing, and you shouldn't be asking that of yourself. But what I do want to encourage is this. This is not stuff that you're already capable of, all right? So if you're a person, okay, that has locked in, you're up at 5:30 a.m. every morning, you have first 30 minutes committed to devotion, the next 45 minutes is committed to the gym, and that comes easy for you, and you've been doing it forever, we're not looking for that in your breakthrough plan. Why? Because you're already doing it. We're looking for the stuff that you're saying, okay, this is where I'm struggling. The accountability piece right there, yeah, I'm locked and loaded when it comes to morning devotion and working out. But I need some accountability when it comes to relationships. Perhaps if you're married, there's some things you're just kind of grappling with. There may be some baggage or wherever it is that nobody knows about. And you need somebody in your space, and you've been procrastinating year after year after year to get there, or you're just refusing to do it because you just resist letting somebody else speak into your life. Whatever that might be, that needs to be in your breakthrough plan. But it has to be something that you're not currently doing or skilled at, or you would say, okay, I've already arrived at, okay? Any questions? I hope this is clear. Your city coordinator and your liaison have been equipped. They understand what it is that you're about to go through in terms of getting this done, okay? Ask questions. Call the office. Figure out what you need to do to get this complete. Let me do a quick recap. These are your 6 steps. Your personal learning summary, a lot of reflective thinking there. That becomes the resource for your focus statement, which is about a paragraph deep. Step 3, get your personal breakthrough plan achieved by responding to all 6 prompts. And please respond to all 6, okay? That's for your benefit. Step 4, develop an awesome presentation. And do your best to get a standing ovation from your cohort. But at the same time, be ready to take notes, because no matter how hard they applaud for you, they're still going to have some feedback for you that you're going to learn and gain from. Trust me, it happens every year. Step 5, do the work, revise the plan, get it done, meet the deadlines, be on time with it so that you can move on to the next component, to the next track of your learning, which is going to be all about ministry at that point. And then finally, implement the plan. Don't get it all done and then just shove it aside. Begin to put it into practice and make sure you have your monthly accountability session with someone that can hold you to task. Any questions? Anything? Go for it.
Thank you. So there are going to be 2 plans, 2 breakthrough plans, one for personal and then later one for ministry?
Bingo.
Okay.
Yep.
And for this personal plan, personal breakthrough plan, could we have 3, or is there a max? Is there a minimum? Should we focus on 1?
Oh, I think it says 2 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah, so you at least a minimum of 2, no more than 4 of things that you want to achieve, okay? At the personal level. For the overachiever in the house, don't try to impress us with 7 to 10 things that you want to achieve, okay? I feel you. I've been there, but it doesn't work, all right? It gets really cloudy at that point, okay? Another question over here.
Okay, so I understand all this part. Day 3.5, the half part, I wasn't available. Is there a way that I can get the parts that I missed? I think it was interdependence and some of the other. Will my liaison or somebody be able to help me with those parts?
I'm so glad you asked. Yes, all this is being recorded for your access. We already have pre-recordings from prior years. Everything you need in terms of content will be made available either on the website and I believe the learning management system as well that Rodrigo is going to come and talk with you about also. So everything that you need, all the recordings, I know you had to step out, but thank God you're back in the room. And for anybody else, if you wanted to go back and revisit some of this stuff, go for it. Yep. Was that a hand or was that a praise God? That was a praise God. Okay, hallelujah. Well, I'm with you. Yep. Any other questions? So just call me. I can just walk with you through it, okay? I'm just joking. This is being recorded also, yes, all right? And there will be full instructions on what I've delivered today on the LMS as well. Yep. Any other questions? All right, do me a favor. If you're able to stand on, I'm sorry, Jeremy? Comment? Question?
I just want to make a comment if it's not clear already. That focus statement, that's you describing the lever, right?
Good point.
The personal learning summary, that's you describing the landscape, all those options that you're leaving here with, all those insights. You could pick a lot of different things. You can't possibly implement all of them in the short run. So you pick one, that's your focus statement, right? In the presentation I gave, I shared a personal breakthrough, which I have backslidden on currently, but I'm going to reclaim, and a ministry breakthrough. When I talked about the ministry breakthrough and that video captured 3 different breakthrough plans, those are the part 2 of your breakthrough planning, right? The health thing was a more personal one. So just to make it tangible, this isn't meant to be an abstraction. The more specific your focus statement, the more realistic and achievable it becomes, right? Another metaphor is a bullseye. If that bullseye is fuzzy, you're going to throw the dart and you're going to hit the fuzzy target, but you're not going to hit the bullseye, right? The bullseye needs to be clear in order for it to be manifested. And so the more precise, the more specific, right, the more achievable it becomes
Very good.
on the back end of your plan.
Yep. Y'all feel it? All right. Do me a favor, if you can, stand up. And put your hands both hands in the air like this. Try to touch the ceiling. Higher. All right, now keep them in the air, because I want you to repeat after me. As loud as you can. Say, this is the final stretch. I made it this far. I'm going to make it all the way. In Jesus' name. Okay, now keep your hands in the air. Keep it in the air. Okay. Say, this is the final stretch. You've made it this far. You're going to make it all the way. In Jesus' name. Breakthrough. Put your hands together like this.